Good morning, guys. The dreams that we can sometimes have at night can be pretty wild. Maybe think about some of the dreams that you might have had. Maybe you dreamed about going to a different planet. Maybe you dreamed about different kinds of make-believe animals. Maybe you were even like me. When I was a kid, I had some dreams that I was a superhero, somebody like Batman or Spider-Man. And dreams can sometimes be pretty fun and pretty amazing. But when we wake up, the dream is over and we know that it's no longer true, that it's not going to happen at all in our life. But today we're going to hear a story that sounds like it's a dream, and it might have felt that way a little bit to Peter and James and John, some of the disciples of Jesus, but it was much more than a dream. It was reality. They really saw Jesus face to face. Now what happened was this. Peter, James, and John were very tired. And Jesus wanted to take them up to a mountain so that they could get some time alone together and so they could pray. And when they were falling asleep, when they were so tired, Jesus decided that he was going to show them who he really was. He was going to show them that he is God himself. And so do you remember, any of you, what happened? Once Jesus showed himself to the disciples as who he was, we're told that it looked like his face was like the sun. It was so bright. Maybe you think about days where you try to look at the sun and you can't do it. You just can't do it. And we're told that his clothes were so white, they were whiter than lightning. That sounds both exciting and scary. And on top of that, then they saw two old men appear, men that had been living in heaven with God for many years, Moses and Elijah. And they started to talk to Jesus about all the things that he would have to do eventually to die on the cross and rise from the dead for you and me to make sure that we're his children. And there was one last thing then that happened as Peter and James and John were shocked awake and they saw Jesus in front of them brighter than the sun. They heard a loud thunder voice say to them, "This is my son whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When you come to church and you see me. I might have a beard like Jesus, but I'm not Jesus. And when your parents read you Bible stories at home about Jesus and what happened a long time ago, and they tell you that Jesus is with you here today, we don't get to see him face to face just yet. We have to wait a little bit longer until finally we get to the joys of heaven. But that doesn't mean we can't listen to Jesus now. Every single time your parents sit you down at home and they read you Bible stories about Jesus dying on the cross or coming back to life, every single time that you hear stories in church about Jesus doing amazing things like healing people from their sicknesses, that's when you, as his child, are listening to him just as he asked. And so every single day, we can enjoy that. We can remember that Jesus speaks to us and shows himself to us until finally we'll get to that one day when he calls us home and we see him face to face, just like Peter, James, and John. That was a long story. Thank you for paying attention. Now you guys can go back to your seats.